The night air is thick with dread as a name slips from trembling lips, Beelzebub. It's a name that has haunted the corridors of darkness for centuries, evoking shivers and whispers. Known as the Lord of Flies, Beelzebub is a figure steeped in mystery and terror, embodying the very essence of evil in various traditions. His presence is a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of our understanding. In the heart of demonology and mythology, Beelzebub stands out as one of the most formidable entities. His name alone sends a jolt through the spine, as if the very mention conjures his sinister aura. Originating from ancient Semitic cultures, Beelzebub was once a revered deity, a powerful figure associated with fertility and agriculture. However, as time passed and cultures shifted, so did his image. From a once respected figure, he transformed into a symbol of dread and corruption. The name Beelzebub itself carries a weight of its own. Derived from the Philistine language, it translates to Lord of the Flies. This seemingly innocuous phrase masks a deeper, more sinister meaning. In ancient times, flies were often associated with decay and disease. Thus, Beelzebub became a symbol of decay, representing the corruption that spread silently but relentlessly. The transformation of Beelzebub's image is a tale of darkness overtaking light. In ancient texts, he was seen as a mighty prince of the demonic realm, a high-ranking figure in the hierarchy of hell. His power and influence were feared, his name spoken in hushed tones as if uttering it could summon his malevolent presence. In the Christian Bible, Beelzebub is often equated with Satan himself, a chief demon leading a legion of followers. His role as a prince of demons emphasizes his importance and the terror he instills in the hearts of the faithful. The shift from a deity to a demon was not sudden but gradual, marked by the changing beliefs and fears of the people. As religions evolved, so did the stories surrounding Beelzebub. In some accounts, he is portrayed as a deceiver, a master of lies and manipulation who leads souls astray with false promises. His name became synonymous with the worst of human fears, decay, corruption, and the darkness that hides in the deepest corners of our minds. Despite his fearsome reputation, Beelzebub's significance is not merely a product of superstition. His story is a reflection of humanity's struggle with the concept of evil and the forces that seem to work against us. The terror associated with him taps into a primal fear of losing control and falling into chaos. This fear is not just about the physical presence of a demon but about the underlying sense of dread that accompanies the idea of such malevolent forces influencing our world. To speak of Beelzebub is to acknowledge the shadows that stretch beyond the light, the lurking presence that many would prefer to ignore. His very existence in our stories and beliefs serves as a reminder of the darkness within and around us. It is a name that sends chills down the spine, a figure whose essence embodies the fears and anxieties that resonate deeply within the human soul. Through the ages, Beelzebub has maintained his place in the pantheon of terror, not merely as a figure of myth, but as a representation of the darker aspects of human consciousness. His story, wrapped in layers of historical and religious significance, continues to haunt and provoke, making him one of the most enduring and feared figures in the annals of demonic lore. In the shadowy corridors of history, Beelzebub's name echoes like a chilling whisper from the past. This name, once synonymous with power and reverence, has morphed into a symbol of dread. The evolution of Beelzebub's image from a respected deity to a demon feared across cultures is a tale of transformation marked by shadows and fear. In the ancient cities of the Near East, where the sun-baked sands gave way to bustling markets and grand temples, Beelzebub was once worshipped under a different guise. Known initially as Beelzebub, which means Lord of the Fly in the Philistine tongue, he was a deity associated with healing and fertility. His name, seemingly benign, was once a sign of his power to control the pests that plagued agricultural societies. In these early times, the people saw him as a protective force, a guardian against disease and misfortune. However, as time passed and the religious landscape shifted, so did the perception of Beelzebub. As the Hebrew Bible began to take shape, his name started to transform from that of a revered god to a symbol of malevolent power. In these texts, Beelzebub's image began to darken. No longer just a deity of protection, he became a demon associated with corruption and deceit. His name was mentioned with an edge of fear and suspicion, reflecting the growing unease with his evolving role in the spiritual realm. The Bible presents Beelzebub not just as a minor demon, but as a powerful prince of demons. In the New Testament, particularly in the Gospels, Beelzebub is referred to as the Prince of Demons, a title that conveys his supreme power in the demonic hierarchy. This shift was dramatic. From a figure who once healed and protected, Beelzebub was now a leader of evil forces, commanding legions of lesser demons and sowing chaos among humanity. The shift in Beelzebub's image from a revered deity to a feared demon did not happen in isolation. It was a reflection of broader changes in religious thought and the growing demonization of old gods. As new religious traditions emerged, the old gods were often recast as demons to discredit and erase them from cultural memory. Beelzebub's transition from a protective deity to a symbol of corruption was part of this wider trend, as newer religions sought to define themselves in opposition to older beliefs. This evolution continued through the ages. In the Middle Ages, Beelzebub's presence became even more sinister. During this time, the figure of Beelzebub was deeply intertwined with the idea of witchcraft and heresy. Medieval texts and witch trials often invoked his name, adding layers of horror to his already fearsome reputation. The name Beelzebub was used to accuse those deemed heretical, and his image was cemented as a demon of immense and terrifying power. As centuries passed, Beelzebub's story traveled beyond religious texts into folklore and literature, each telling casting a new light on his dark essence. In some stories, he appeared as a tempter, leading people astray with promises of power and wealth. In others, he was depicted as a figure of chaos, delighting in the destruction and suffering of mankind. The evolution of Beelzebub's image in these stories reflected the fears and anxieties of the times, showcasing how his dark presence could be used to explain and control the unknown. Today, Beelzebub's legacy is a powerful reminder of how ancient fears and beliefs continue to shape our understanding of the world. From a once respected deity to a figure of universal dread, Beelzebub's transformation is a testament to the shifting tides of belief and the enduring power of myth. His name still invokes a shiver, a lingering reminder of the dark corners of our history and the fears that have haunted humanity for centuries. In the dimly lit corners of biblical texts, the name Beelzebub carries an unmistakable chill. It's a name that cuts through the ages, echoing with the sinister undertones of its role in Christian tradition. When the Bible speaks of Beelzebub, it does so with an air of dread and foreboding, painting a picture of a figure whose very mention can freeze the heart. In the New Testament, Beelzebub is introduced as the Prince of Demons, a title that strikes a deep, unsettling chord. His name appears in a context that portrays him as a leader of the demonic legions, a figure wielding dark influence over a host of malevolent entities. In the Gospels, especially in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Beelzebub is accused by the Pharisees of being the source of Jesus' miraculous powers, claiming that Jesus casts out demons by the power of Beelzebub. This accusation marks him as a central figure in the struggle between divine and demonic forces, making him a symbol of opposition to the divine light. The role of Beelzebub in the Bible is both formidable and menacing. Unlike other demons, who might appear as minor temptations or possessors, Beelzebub stands out as a high-ranking leader, commanding respect and fear. His presence in the scriptures highlights his role as a principal antagonist, a figure who wields significant power and influence in the realm of evil. Comparing Beelzebub to other demons in Christian tradition reveals the depth of his malevolence. While demons like Legion or the unclean spirits mentioned in the Gospels are often depicted as individual tormentors or tempters, Beelzebub is portrayed as a mastermind of chaos. His role as the Prince of Demons sets him apart from figures such as Asmodeus or Lilith, who, though feared, do not command the same level of authority and influence. The comparison between Beelzebub and Satan further underscores his dark prominence. While Satan, also known as the devil, is often viewed as the ultimate adversary of God, Beelzebub serves as a high-ranking lieutenant in the demonic hierarchy. Satan's role is that of the grand deceiver, the origin of all evil, but Beelzebub's role is more specific, focusing on leading and coordinating the forces of darkness. This makes him a figure of significant, if not ultimate, power, orchestrating evil in ways that support and expand the reach of Satan's malevolent plans. In the Bible, Beelzebub is not just a name but a symbol of the pervasive and corrupting influence of evil. His role as the prince of demons signifies a structured and organized force of darkness, a stark contrast to the chaotic and often disorganized nature of other evil figures. This structured evil, led by Beelzebub, suggests a coordinated effort against divine goodness, a deliberate and calculated opposition to the light. The terror associated with Beelzebub in Christian tradition reflects deeper fears about the nature of evil and its power. His name alone is enough to conjure images of dark, malevolent forces working tirelessly to undermine the divine and corrupt the human soul. As a figure of significant authority within the demonic hierarchy, Beelzebub's presence in the Bible serves as a powerful reminder of the ever-present threat of darkness in the spiritual world. The vivid portrayal of Beelzebub in the Bible adds a layer of emotional intensity to his role. The idea of a high-ranking demon orchestrating evil serves to amplify the stakes of spiritual battles, casting a long shadow over the struggle between good and evil. His role as the prince of demons ensures that Beelzebub remains a figure of intense fear and respect, embodying the very essence of spiritual corruption and opposition to the divine. In Christian tradition, Beelzebub's legacy is one of profound fear and awe. His role as a principal demon, a leader among the forces of darkness, ensures that he occupies a place of significant power and influence. The chilling depiction of Beelzebub in the Bible serves as a stark reminder of the relentless and organized nature of evil, making his presence a haunting element in the struggle between light and darkness. In the silent shadows of ancient Jewish texts, Beelzebub's name lurks like a haunting echo from a forgotten past. Unlike his portrayal in later Christian traditions, where his presence looms as a high-ranking demon, Jewish writings offer a more subtle yet still chilling glimpse into his role and significance. In the Hebrew Bible, Beelzebub appears in the Old Testament, particularly in the second book of Kings. Here, his name is mentioned in a tale that adds a layer of intrigue and unease. The story unfolds with King Ahaziah of Israel seeking guidance from Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, after a severe injury. The request for help from a god whose name translates to Lord of the Flies underscores a profound sense of desperation and foreboding. This brief mention casts Beelzebub in a role that is less about direct malevolence and more about the desperation of those who turn to him for answers in their darkest hours. The Jewish tradition does not elaborate extensively on Beelzebub as a singular demonic entity. Instead, his name often appears alongside other deities and spirits, hinting at a broader spectrum of supernatural beings that occupied the ancient world. In this context, Beelzebub is less a master of demons and more a symbol of misguided worship and the perils of seeking guidance from sources outside the divine fold of Yahweh. The differences between Jewish and Christian interpretations of Beelzebub are striking. In Christian texts, Beelzebub's transformation into a prince of demons marks him as a central figure in the hierarchy of evil. He is portrayed with authority and fearsome power, a key player in the cosmic struggle between good and evil. This dramatic shift reflects the evolving nature of demonology and the increasing focus on organized, malevolent forces. In contrast, Jewish tradition tends to view Beelzebub in a more subdued light. His role is not as prominently defined or feared. Instead, he is more a symbol of the dangers associated with turning away from the worship of Yahweh and seeking out other, often corrupt, deities. The Jewish texts do not assign him a high rank among demons or detail elaborate schemes of temptation and corruption. Rather, Beelzebub's name serves as a reminder of the perils of idolatry and misplaced faith. Despite these differences, both traditions share a sense of unease about Beelzebub. In Jewish tradition, the discomfort arises from the recognition of his name in the context of false worship and misguided appeals for help. In Christian tradition, the fear is amplified by the idea of Beelzebub as a leader among demons, orchestrating chaos and evil with a malevolent hand. Both views highlight a deep-seated anxiety about the power of darkness and the dangers posed by supernatural forces. The portrayal of Beelzebub across these traditions reflects broader themes of fear and caution. In Jewish texts, his presence is a stark reminder of the consequences of turning away from the divine and seeking answers in forbidden places. In Christian interpretations, he embodies the organized and terrifying nature of evil, a figure whose power and influence extend deeply into the spiritual realm. The legacy of Beelzebub in both Jewish and Christian traditions serves as a chilling testament to the enduring power of ancient fears and beliefs. His name, evoking images of decay and darkness, resonates through the ages, reminding us of the timeless struggle between light and shadow, faith and falsehood. In the vast expanse of Islamic lore, the name Beelzebub whispers like a ghostly echo, merging ancient fears with new religious beliefs. While his name resonates with a chilling familiarity across different traditions, the Islamic portrayal of Beelzebub offers a unique and haunting perspective. In Islamic tradition, Beelzebub is often identified with Iblis, the Islamic equivalent of Satan. Iblis is a fallen angel who refused to bow to Adam and was cast out of heaven for his defiance. This characterization places Beelzebub in a role of profound malevolence and opposition to God. Unlike the Christian view, where Beelzebub is a high-ranking demon, in Islam, the figure of Iblis stands alone as the principal tempter and adversary of mankind. The Quran describes Iblis as a being made of smokeless fire, a stark contrast to the light of the angels and the clay of Adam. This imagery enhances his menacing presence, portraying him as a figure of intense darkness and defiance. The story of Iblis's fall is a dramatic tale of pride and rebellion, showing a being so consumed by his own arrogance that he chooses to defy God's command. This rebellion sets the stage for Iblis's role in Islamic belief as the chief instigator of sin and temptation. While Christian texts often depict Beelzebub as a prince of demons, orchestrating evil and leading legions of lesser demons, Islamic lore portrays Iblis as a singular, formidable figure. This focus on Iblis as the primary antagonist underscores the stark duality between divine will and rebellious defiance. In Islam, Iblis's influence is not seen as part of a structured hierarchy of demons, but rather as the driving force behind temptation and evil. The differences between the Islamic and Christian portrayals of Beelzebub highlight the distinct ways in which each tradition grapples with the concept of evil. In Christianity, Beelzebub is one of many demons, a powerful entity within a broader, organized force of darkness. His role is integral to the cosmic struggle between good and evil, but he operates within a network of other malevolent beings. In contrast, Islamic tradition focuses on Iblis as a solitary figure whose rebellion against God's will sets him apart from other entities. His role as the tempter is not part of a larger demonic structure but stands as a singular challenge to the divine order. This portrayal emphasizes the personal and direct nature of temptation and sin, presenting Iblis as the central figure responsible for leading humanity astray. The fear and awe surrounding Beelzebub in both traditions reflect deep-seated anxieties about the nature of evil. In Christianity, Beelzebub's role as a prince of demons adds a layer of organized malevolence, amplifying the sense of dread associated with his name. In Islam, the figure of Iblis evokes a more personal and direct confrontation with evil, emphasizing the struggle between divine obedience and rebellious defiance. The haunting presence of Beelzebub in Islamic tradition serves as a reminder of the enduring power of ancient fears. His portrayal as Iblis, the fallen angel, captures the essence of defiance and darkness, setting the stage for a profound exploration of the nature of evil and the struggle to remain faithful amidst temptation. The stark differences in his depiction across traditions reveal the complex ways in which cultures have understood and grappled with the forces of darkness throughout history. The name Beelzebub conjures images of dread and darkness, but it is his symbols and attributes that truly paint the full, chilling portrait of this ancient figure. Beelzebub's depiction is laden with symbolism that captures the very essence of his feared presence, making his representation in art and literature a haunting reflection of his dark nature. One of Beelzebub's most notorious symbols is the fly. This seemingly mundane insect becomes a powerful emblem of decay and corruption. In ancient times, flies were associated with filth and disease. Their presence often signaled something rotten, something unseen but insidious. Beelzebub's title, Lord of the Flies, turns this association into a symbol of his dominion over chaos and decay. The fly, with its relentless buzzing and association with corruption, becomes a fitting representation of a force that spreads rot and malevolence wherever it goes. Another attribute often associated with Beelzebub is his role as a master of deception. This attribute is not always directly symbolized, but is woven into the tales and descriptions of his character. Beelzebub is portrayed as a cunning figure who leads others astray with false promises and dark schemes. His ability to deceive and manipulate is a core part of his malevolent power, making him a symbol of the treacherous and misleading nature of evil. In art and literature, Beelzebub is depicted in various ways, each adding to the tapestry of his dark persona. Traditional depictions often show him with a grotesque, demonic appearance. Artists might portray him with a monstrous face, horned and fierce, with eyes that seem to burn with a malevolent fire. These visual representations emphasize his role as a powerful and fearsome entity, one whose very presence evokes a sense of dread. One of the more chilling representations in art shows Beelzebub as a figure with a swarm of flies surrounding him, or even as a grotesque hybrid of man and insect. This imagery reinforces his connection to decay and corruption, portraying him as a creature that thrives on and perpetuates the rot and filth of the world. Such depictions are designed to elicit a visceral reaction from viewers, invoking a primal fear of the things that are both disturbing and repulsive. In literature, Beelzebub often appears as a character who commands respect and fear from other demonic entities. His dialogue and interactions in these texts reflect his role as a leader among the forces of darkness. Writers might describe him with elaborate and horrifying details, using language that emphasizes his cunning and the depth of his malevolence. The portrayal of Beelzebub in literature highlights his influence over evil and his ability to control and manipulate those around him. Throughout history, the representation of Beelzebub has evolved, but his core attributes remain consistent. The fly as a symbol of decay and his role as a master of deception are central to his character, making him a powerful emblem of the darker aspects of the human psyche. The art and literature that depict him are designed to evoke a sense of fear and unease, reflecting the deep-seated anxieties about the nature of evil and its manifestations. In every portrayal, Beelzebub remains a figure shrouded in darkness, his attributes and symbols serving as a stark reminder of the corruption and malevolence that lurk just beyond the edge of our understanding. The images and stories surrounding him are designed to unsettle and provoke, capturing the chilling essence of a figure whose very presence represents the relentless and terrifying nature of evil. In the shadowy corners of occult practices, Beelzebub emerges as a figure of terrifying influence, his name whispered in dark rituals and arcane rites. His role in these practices is not just symbolic, but deeply entwined with the forces that practitioners seek to control or summon. The rituals involving Beelzebub are designed to evoke his presence, tapping into the dark power he represents. Beelzebub's influence in occult practices is profound and unsettling. Practitioners of dark magic often invoke his name in their rituals, believing that he can offer power, knowledge, or assistance in achieving their sinister goals. His presence in these rituals is not merely an afterthought but a central element, meant to harness the dark energies he embodies. The invocation of Beelzebub is seen as a way to gain favor with a high-ranking demon, someone who can provide significant influence or supernatural aid. One of the more eerie aspects of invoking Beelzebub is the elaborate preparation involved. Rituals designed to summon him often require specific symbols, chants, and offerings. The symbols used are often linked to decay and corruption, such as flies or insects, reinforcing his association with filth and darkness. The chants and invocations are crafted to call forth his power and demand his presence, making the ritual a high-stakes gamble with forces beyond human control. The significance of these practices is both chilling and profound. For those who practice dark magic, invoking Beelzebub is a way to tap into a source of considerable power. His role as a high-ranking demon means that his involvement is seen as a gateway to other powerful entities and forces. The rituals are often intended to manipulate or control these dark forces, seeking to bend them to the practitioner's will. The rituals themselves are described with a sense of dread and reverence. Practitioners might gather in secluded, dimly lit spaces, performing their rites with an intensity that reflects their deep fear and desire. The atmosphere is charged with an ominous energy, as if the very act of summoning Beelzebub draws in the shadows and stirs the air with a sense of impending doom. The goal is not just to summon his presence, but to harness his dark influence for personal gain, a dangerous and morally fraught endeavor. The offerings made to Beelzebub during these rituals can be equally unsettling. They might include symbols of decay or corruption, sacrifices intended to appease or attract his attention. The nature of these offerings reflects the grim reality of dealing with such a powerful and malevolent figure. The act of making these offerings is both a demonstration of respect and a way to forge a connection with the dark power he represents. The impact of invoking Beelzebub is often described in terms of the profound and disturbing changes it brings. Practitioners might report experiences of heightened power or insight, but these are frequently accompanied by a sense of growing unease and fear. The rituals can leave a lasting mark, as if the very act of calling forth such a dark presence has imprinted something sinister on the soul of the practitioner. The price of dealing with Beelzebub is steep, often leaving those who invoke him with a lingering sense of dread and an awareness of the dangers they have unleashed. In occult practices, Beelzebub stands as a figure of immense power and terror. His role in rituals and invocations highlights the complex and often dangerous nature of dealing with dark forces. The rituals designed to summon him are laden with symbolism and dread, reflecting the profound and unsettling impact that his presence is believed to have. The influence of Beelzebub in these practices serves as a stark reminder of the shadowy and formidable nature of the forces that lie just beyond the veil of our understanding. The name Beelzebub resonates with an eerie familiarity in the world of literature and pop culture, where his dark essence is both feared and fascinated. From ancient texts to modern media, his presence has been depicted in a way that sends shivers down the spine, leaving a profound impact on the audience's perception of evil. In literature, Beelzebub often appears as a figure of profound menace and chaos. Classic works like John Milton's Paradise Lost present him as a powerful, rebellious demon, a key player in the cosmic struggle between heaven and hell. Milton's portrayal of Beelzebub as a fierce and commanding presence among the fallen angels captures his terrifying authority and cunning. His speeches in the epic are filled with dark charisma, showcasing his ability to sway others with his malevolent vision. This portrayal deepens the archetype of Beelzebub as a leader among demons, a figure whose influence and danger are felt throughout the narrative. In modern literature, Beelzebub's role has expanded into various genres, from horror to fantasy. Writers often depict him as a central antagonist whose presence brings an aura of dread and corruption. His character is frequently associated with themes of decay and moral corruption, reflecting his ancient symbolism. In these works, Beelzebub's appearance and actions are designed to evoke a visceral reaction, tapping into the primal fears of his audience. His interactions with other characters are marked by a chilling sense of danger, reinforcing his role as a formidable and malevolent force. Film and television have taken Beelzebub's legacy and adapted it for the screen, often amplifying his dark qualities for dramatic effect. Movies and shows featuring Beelzebub typically present him as a fearsome, otherworldly entity. In many cases, he is portrayed with a grotesque, unsettling appearance, such as a monstrous figure with demonic features. These visual representations are designed to provoke fear, using striking and often horrific imagery to make the character's malevolence palpable. Scenes involving Beelzebub often highlight his power to corrupt and manipulate, reinforcing his status as a central figure of evil. In pop culture, Beelzebub's influence extends beyond traditional media into video games, comics, and even music. In video games, he is frequently depicted as a powerful antagonist, often with the ability to summon or control lesser demons. These games portray him as a central challenge for players, embodying the ultimate test of courage and resilience against overwhelming darkness. His character in these games often comes with elaborate backstories and abilities, enhancing the sense of dread and challenge associated with him. Comics and graphic novels also bring Beelzebub to life with vivid, often nightmarish illustrations. His appearances in these formats emphasize his sinister nature, using dramatic visuals and dark storytelling to create an atmosphere of fear. The striking imagery associated with Beelzebub in comics adds a layer of intensity to his character, making him a memorable and impactful villain. Music, too, reflects Beelzebub's influence, with artists drawing on his dark imagery and symbolism. Songs and albums that reference Beelzebub often explore themes of darkness, rebellion, and corruption, using his name as a powerful symbol of evil. The evocative lyrics and haunting melodies associated with these works capture the essence of Beelzebub's character, adding to the emotional impact of his portrayal. Across all these media, Beelzebub's representation is marked by a consistent theme of fear and corruption. His role as a symbol of ultimate evil and chaos is explored in various ways, each medium adding its own layer of intensity and dread. The impact of these representations on popular culture is profound, reinforcing the idea of Beelzebub as a powerful and unsettling figure whose presence evokes both fascination and terror. The ways in which he is portrayed in literature, film, and other media reflect a deep-seated fascination with the darker aspects of human nature, making Beelzebub a lasting and powerful symbol of malevolence. Beelzebub, a name that evokes visceral fear, has not only haunted literature and media but has also left an indelible mark on our collective psyche and cultural interpretations. This figure, steeped in dark legend, holds a mirror to the fears and anxieties of those who confront him, revealing much about human psychology and cultural reactions. The psychological implications of Beelzebub's figure are profound and unsettling. To many, Beelzebub represents the embodiment of chaos and corruption, forces that lurk just beyond the edge of our understanding and threaten to overwhelm our sense of order. His depiction as a master of deception and decay strikes a deep chord, tapping into primal fears about the loss of control and the darkness within the human soul. When people encounter Beelzebub in literature or media, they are often confronted with the darkest corners of their own minds. The fear he invokes is not just about his malevolent actions, but about the reflection of our deepest anxieties. Beelzebub symbolizes the chaotic forces that threaten to unmake the carefully constructed worlds of order and morality we cling to. The psychological response to his figure can range from anxiety to existential dread, highlighting our fear of facing the uncontrollable and the unknown. Different cultures interpret Beelzebub through various lenses, each reflecting its unique fears and values. In Western cultures, where Beelzebub is often depicted as a high-ranking demon or prince of hell, he embodies the ultimate threat to moral and societal order. His presence in these narratives underscores a deep-seated fear of moral decay and the loss of divine protection. The chilling tales of his influence serve as a stark reminder of the potential for corruption and evil to invade even the most sacred realms. In contrast, other cultures may view Beelzebub through different symbols and contexts. In some Middle Eastern traditions, his role might blend with other figures of chaos and malevolence, reflecting local beliefs about the nature of evil and its manifestations. Here, Beelzebub's image might merge with other mythological beings or demons, reshaping his persona to fit into the local understanding of dark forces. This cultural adaptation shows how the archetype of evil is molded by regional beliefs and fears. The reactions to Beelzebub in different societies reveal how cultures grapple with the concept of evil. For many, the fear of Beelzebub is a way to confront and manage the anxieties about the unknown and the uncontrollable. In Western narratives, his malevolence is often depicted with a sense of finality and dread, reflecting the cultural preoccupation with cosmic battles between good and evil. The focus is on his power to corrupt and his role as a central figure in the struggle against dark forces. In other cultures, where Beelzebub's role might be less central or even merged with other figures, the response to his character can be less about direct fear and more about understanding and contextualizing evil within a broader framework of spiritual or moral lessons. The figure of Beelzebub might be used to illustrate the consequences of moral failings or to explore themes of redemption and resistance against darkness. The psychological and cultural interpretations of Beelzebub show how deeply this figure is embedded in our collective consciousness. He is more than just a symbol of evil, he is a reflection of our deepest fears and moral concerns. The ways in which different cultures interpret and react to Beelzebub reveal the complex interplay between universal anxieties and local beliefs, highlighting how a single figure can resonate across diverse contexts. Each interpretation adds a layer of meaning, revealing the diverse ways humans confront the shadows that lie at the edge of understanding. Beelzebub's shadow looms large in modern times, a figure that continues to fascinate and unsettle both religious and secular spheres. In today's world, where ancient fears are often reframed through contemporary lenses, Beelzebub's presence is both a reflection of and a commentary on our deepest anxieties. In religious contexts, Beelzebub is still a powerful symbol of evil and corruption. For many traditional faiths, especially within Christianity, he remains a potent embodiment of the forces opposed to divine good. His name is often invoked in discussions about spiritual warfare and moral decay, reflecting ongoing concerns about the struggle between light and darkness. Beelzebub's role as a high-ranking demon in the hierarchy of evil reinforces the gravity of the spiritual battles believed to be waged in the unseen realms. In sermons and religious texts, he is depicted as a force that must be resisted, a reminder of the ever-present danger of succumbing to malevolence. Secular perspectives, on the other hand, have transformed Beelzebub into a symbol of the chaotic and the forbidden. In modern literature, films, and art, he is often used to explore themes of rebellion, corruption, and the darker aspects of human nature. The figure of Beelzebub, with his connotations of deceit and decay, has become a versatile character in horror and fantasy genres. His portrayal in these contexts often emphasizes his role as a master of manipulation and chaos, tapping into the collective fear of losing control over one's own life or society. This secular view of Beelzebub plays with the boundaries between reality and fiction, making him a compelling character for exploring the nature of evil and the limits of human understanding. The legacy of Beelzebub in modern society is profound and pervasive. His image continues to influence how we think about evil and moral corruption, reflecting our ongoing fears and cultural concerns. In media, Beelzebub appears as a central antagonist or a symbol of ultimate evil, often used to provoke intense emotional responses from audiences. His presence in popular culture is not just a nod to ancient myths, but a way to engage with contemporary fears and anxieties. Whether in a horror film, a dark novel, or a provocative piece of art, Beelzebub's figure taps into a deep-seated dread, making him a powerful and enduring symbol of the dark side of human nature. Moreover, Beelzebub's impact extends into everyday life through the language and imagery used in modern discourse. Terms and concepts related to his name are often employed to describe situations or individuals that evoke a sense of deep corruption or malevolence. His legacy is reflected in the way we talk about deceit, manipulation, and the darker aspects of human behavior, showcasing his enduring influence on our cultural imagination. In summary, Beelzebub's legacy continues to shape our understanding of evil, both in religious and secular contexts. His figure remains a powerful symbol of the forces that threaten to undermine our sense of order and morality. Whether through spiritual teachings or popular media, Beelzebub's impact is a testament to his enduring role as a symbol of darkness and chaos in modern society.